For my report, I decided to pick the book How We Misunderstand Economics and Why It Matters by David Lacer and Yonatan Shmesh. So, getting into a brief overview of ideas covered in the book, the authors talk about how there's a disconnect between how economists and the public think about the economy and public opinions on economic issues without understanding can be a big issue that we'll cover later. The brain also causes misinterpretation through intuitive, moral, and personal thinking, which can lead to, decisions that are biased based on your personal beliefs rather than informed correctly based on economic conditions or economic policies. And misunderstanding can be a threat to democracy and policymaking because it doesn't correctly represent, the economy. It represents other people's opinions. So moving into why we misunderstand economics. The first being the cognitive limits that people have. Most people don't take the time to study economics, and they don't study it in a school setting like college. But the economy is a very abstract and complex thing that no one truly ever understands, but takes a lot to understand the core concepts of why it works. So people will create these mental shortcuts to kind of relieve the stressful thinking about how complex the economy can be. Like kind of like using analogies to compare the economy to their own personal situation. And there's also the experts compared to non-professionals. Experts use graphs, models, systems, programs to influence their decisions, while the normal person kind of leans towards their moral beliefs and their emotional beliefs, what will appease their emotions. So now we're going to move into some common misunderstandings in the economy. The first being the moralization of economic issues. People like to assume that debt or unemployment is unfair to some people, and they like to place blame on people in terms of those issues. They think if poor people are poor, they must not be working hard, but that's often not the case, especially in this economy. People also like to treat the economy as a living being. They often, something that we've all heard is that the economy is healing or the economy is nervous, and that adds an actual emotional weight to the economy and the people that are involved in the economy. And the third is linear thinking. People, the human brain wants simple answers to their problems. They want a cause and effect, but that's not how the economy works. It's random, it's complex, it's very hard to understand. So the authors wanted to explain, why does this all matter? The first being policy support. Some people will choose to support policies that they feel are correct morally for them, but it's actually harmful to the economy. And that can just lead to political consequences. Public opinion influences, the decisions of politicians. It influences elections and it influences policies, which are all very, very big to our country. And if the public has a misconception about a certain economic policy or economic condition, new policies that are created can be swayed by that misinformation or emotions that the general public is feeling. And that also leads to an erosion of trust in economic experts because people will have a gut feeling that their economic expert disagrees with, and that leads them to lose trust in that person. So finally, the authors wanted to provide a potential solution to the problem of why so many people are misunderstanding the economy. So what can be done? The first being better communication. This is between financial experts and the common people. There's a large gap in between the information and knowledge the two parties have, And the authors called for like a bridge in the gap, you know, to have more common people understanding the economy, because it is very important to many big decisions that our country and the world makes. They also called for better economic education. For me, I didn't learn about the economy until I was in senior year, junior year of high school, outside of from my parents and family members, which is really tells the story of how many people don't understand about the economy. And if I didn't have college, I don't know if I know half as much as I do now. Um, they also want people to have real life examples, not just graphs and charts. They want people to see how the economy affects their life and how they can work in the economy rather than just seeing how other people can do it. So that's my book report, and thank you.